Hello, it's Chris from My Stamp Lady. I'm here with the Queen Anne's Lace stamp set. So this is what I'm featuring today. I'm going to show you a little bit about emboss resisting on this card and talk about the shimmer paper and the wonderful embellishments. So I'm going to just quickly go through the products I'm using. I have the layering circles dies, a great, just a standby. It's one of my go-to die sets. And I have the Tasteful Texture 3D folder that I'm going to be embossing a piece of garden green cardstock, the Versamark for the embossing, and I have transferred my powder into a little plastic container, so my white embossing powder. The colors I'm using are Garden Green, Balmy Blue, and Misty Moonlight. And then I also have a length of the Misty Moonlight coordinating ribbon and the in color elements. Okay, so we are using Misty Moonlight as my background. This is one of the current in colors. I like this color. It is a nice blue. It's not navy, but it's a nice blue. And then I am using Shimmer White. I know on camera it's going to be really hard to catch that shimmer, but in real life you can see the shimmer. It's not an overpowering shimmer, but it is there. I first want to stamp the stems from my Queen Anne flower, so I'm taking my garden green ink. I am inking up the image, and this is a photopolymer image, so I am going to pull in my Stampin' Pierce pad because it will help me get a better image. So let's stamp that lace image up here because I want to have some room in the lower left for my sentiment. There we go. And let's let that dry a moment. The Shimmer White has just a little bit of a coating, not a lot of coating, but it has a little bit on there, so I didn't want to smear that, so I did let that dry. I have embossing powder. This is like a talc powder would work, or baby powder would work. It just keeps the powder from sticking where I don't want it to stick. Now here's the second image from that Queen Anne's lace, and I am inking this with my very, very favorite Versamark ink for embossing. This is wonderful. So I'm lining this up over the flowers, and we're putting Versamark down here. You can't see the Versamark. It's very, it's clear, but it will grab my powder now. So using a coffee filter is a nice way to catch that powder, or you can use a spoon and just scoop it on. I just decided to do it like this. And we'll heat set that powder. Okay, we'll let that cool down, and you could leave it like that if you just want the white Queen Anne's lace, but I want it to pop out a little bit more, so I've taken my Balmy Blue and one of the sponge daubers. So I'm taking my sponge dauber. I'm going to take that Balmy Blue, ink it up, and I'd like to take my my first little spot off on scratch paper, and that way I don't get a really dark spot. And then I start circling dauber before I go down on the paper. And so I'm adding a blue background. So I'm adding my blue background over the flowers. Wherever I have my powder melted, it's going to resist the ink and keep those flowers up at the top. Now let's do the same thing with the Garden Green, and I'm just going to go at an angle here and I'm just doing kind of like from the upper right to the lower left. Let's go in and get some grass in here. I think you can see that I have a couple of little darker spots. I didn't quite tap as much ink off in that area. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this upper left side white, just kind of gradually go over. And the next part is to do my background. I use the Tasteful Textile folder to do the background, and I am using our brand new Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So this is the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and it does go up like this to store it. Then you just pull down those edges or the ends to use it as supports. Okay, I have my #1 plate. I have my 3D, my dimensional folder with my garden green cardstock, and then a #4 plate on top. And that is my sandwich. This rolls through really nice. It's a very nice, smooth roll through. Now there you can see the wonderful texture in that. Now there's not much of this showing. So would you have to do the texture? No, not really. But it does add a little bit. Before I made this video, I thought, well, what if I just left that step out? It'd be one less step. But I could see that little bit of texture just peeking out, and I really liked it. And so I decided to leave it in. I am using the wonderful new Stampin Seal. Now, one of the tricks I've learned with Stampin Seal, it has a nice adhesion. It says really sticky, but when you're done with it, we tip it back like this and pull it up, and then you won't get it stringing and pulling all over. And my Misty Moonlight paper, I can just go ahead and put that down. Don't forget to do that little kind of just fold it back on itself, and that breaks that adhesive, and then you don't have to worry about it pulling. I did cut this piece a little bit smaller than I usually do, but I'll have the dimensions for all the pieces in the description below and on my blog. Okay, now I have pulled back in that Stampin' Pierce pad because I'm going to stamp the sentiment. And let's see, there it is. I know you have the strength to get through this, and there's actually in the stamp set a nice one to put inside, and that's "and I'll be right by your side." So I'm going to stamp that right down and up, and this is just Whisper White cardstock. And from those layering circles, I pulled this die, and I'm going to cut that out. Okay, because this is a thin die and I want to hold it, I'm going to use plate 1, plate 2, and then plate 5. This is our new magnetic platform. It has a little bit different. It has a self-adhesive or self-healing matte top. It's not the smooth top. And then this replaces an acrylic plate. And let's just put that in place. And then on top, I'll put a number 3. And I'll roll that through. I've already cut out the coordinating scallop background, and I did it the same way. Number 1, number 2, number 5, and a number 3 on top. Then we'll just layer this. So I have the length of Misty Moonlight ribbon. I'm going to place that down. Let's see. Well, I'm just kind of figuring some placement here. So once I have that in place, I'm just going to put that down. Figured out where that one I wanted to put that. There we go. A couple of dimensionals on the back side here. Okay, so I have my sentiment in place. I have my image stamped. The last step, I'm going to use the Take Your Pick tool, and I am going to put in place some of these in color enamel embellishments. And I'm using the Misty Moonlight. That's what's nice, is that they coordinate, and that is a big Stampin' Up! Thing, is that the colors coordinate with the paper, and it all works so easy together, and you don't have to think about it very hard. I'm noticing as I'm putting on my last embellishment here that I was a little heavier handed with the ink with this sample. So if you look at my first one, my practice one, it was much lighter, and this one's a little bit darker. You can decide which one you like better. And then the shimmer is here. You just need to look at it in a little bit closer and in real life. If I can answer any questions about Emboss Resist or anything I did in this card, please send me a note. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. Thanks for watching.